Lucian, she's killed Jack. And you, sister, how many of your countrymen have died at his hand? DJ! Saren must breed oak breakers and carpets. I should have leveled it.
Get behind me! Get behind my shield!
You disgust me, malevolence. I will erase your names from all memory.
Get behind me!
You cannot touch me! Draw this out for nothing. Lose it. Both of you betray your master's stalwart. A chance at power, and then which of you will betray the other if I fall?
Get behind my shield!
Durkin knew that joining me would...
Nishas Yuchiba. Zichi.
Enough! You mistake me for someone that has limits. I am the very wellspring of magic. The very...
Remember that time we pulled one over on the Upbridge gang?
I guess.
I'm saying literally remember the time we pulled one over on the Upbridge gang.
Enough! No! It's finally time to end your suffering. What?
This is for Devin. And for Luna. Oh, and the Palathon. And Saren. And fuck, man. Oh.
Don't forget the Maladar.
Right. And for the Maladar.
No, dummy. Literally, don't forget the Maladar.
It'll work.
Damn, kid! Work says it's a bust. Too much corruption's pouring out of it too fast. Their absorption powers can't slow it down, much less cork it.
Then what are we going to do? The wound's still growing.
I'm thinking.
Think faster. Rasharnian Armada, this is the hand. Sandrak is dead and his madness is over. Stand down and disperse on my command.
You've already figured out the solution, Jack. We win. Then we start thinking about how to fix the wound.
Isn't there something else that we can do about it, I mean?
Of course. She never told you that Immortals are charged with sacrificing themselves to heal the wound at the end of their tenure.
Before you ask, yeah, it works.
What?
The Mandate, the healing ritual, one that splits you from your magic, from your soul. It works. I never would have left the Immortals if it didn't. That's too much of a person.
Would it work on something this big? If I...
Jumped in, exploded yourself right next to the binding stone, flooded all the fonts back into the shrouded realm? Yeah, could do. There's a hair of a mite. You won't survive, though. Good news, that bunny in your eyes is gone, and resolve is a powerful thing.
You're the worst possible person to actually understand goodbyes.
I'll tell her.
Well, okay. You don't have time to teach me the ritual, so...
Just stick it in your head on the way down. No. Listen, kid. If you're gonna jump, just jump already.
Jack?
It'll be okay, Luna.
Jack! What did he do?
He fixed it. Never doubted him for a second. So, now that the wound's been unfucked for the moment,
The rest is up to us. Magni orders are gonna have to rewrite their entire magical playbooks and include the Alluri in them.
west of the Orenthals, huh? That's a right nice stretch of green. Pretty hills, dark groves. Rook'll love groves. They're all gardeners at heart, really.
They deserve more.
Yeah, well, once you started here, it's going to spread.
Lucium will follow our example.
Yeah, sure it will.
Word from Lavendry.
Speak of the devil.
Short version. The king and the dynastic families give their unending thanks.
That's it?
The language used was lovely, yet economical.
No, I mean, did Kirkin...
No word from her at all, sir. The king will recognize your claim as the head of your order, if you ask for it.
She'll come around.
No, she won't.
Likely not. She never did with me. You and Jack had the right of it, in a way I never did.
Woke up right in time for the compliments. Keep them coming.
There he is.
You look good for someone that exploded.
I got better.
Paid having the Pentasod owe you a favor. Spit you back out the Shrouded Realm good as new. Your legs still seem a bit pudding-foot, though.
Your, friend left when she saw you were on the mend. She said she wasn't sure where she was gonna go.
Yeah, that tracks. So what's next?
Well, plenty of Sandrak loyalists are still out there, running amok and causing trouble, refusing to believe he's really dead. You got any loose ends, kid? Wouldn't expect to tie him up in peace.
And what about the Immortals?
Rasharn's withdrawing back to the front. We'll take advantage of that time and try to rebuild.
And, under your leadership?
I take it you have an opinion on that.
I mean, yeah. I think it should be you.
I see. I was thinking the same thing.
You were? Oh, that's great. Totally should be you, for sure.
Totally.
Awesome. Yeah. Shouldn't be me at all. Right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, well that's a little rude.
I mean, that would be the worst thing.
Yeah.
That could
no.
happen.
Yeah.
Literally
no way.
can't think
Right?
Anything
But like, why
worse.
not though?
How?
Like, you haven't even
Than
thought
you
about it?
Being the leader. I mean,
We could.
it's funny though. Listen, it's funny. It's
You know,
funny.
we've been through a lot.
I'd love to see it. Well, I don't. Maybe we should try.
A trial.
Just for
Well, what is that?
just for
prove?
shits and giggles.
I think I've proven myself more
Give it a
than
day.
once. I healed the wound. Grand Magnus?
I'm gonna get used to that. What's on your mind, Initiate?
Believe it or not, I don't do that well without orders.
Interesting.
Without the path, how are we going to do selection? To find more Immortals, I mean.
Who says she's gone? You came back.
And I reignited the fonts across Avium.
Right. Including the one the path formed around. I wouldn't write her off just yet. Still, we'll need to rebuild a new fortress around it all.
There's a lot of airship workers in Saren that wouldn't mind a contract like that.
Good idea. I'll have Selko look into it.
Everything happened so quickly that we never had a chance to talk about Devon.
I don't want to. That whole month after the Palathon fell. Our magic gone. The survivors escaping here to Glavegate only to find it under constant siege. Trying to lead all those people without any sign of hope. I made a lot of peace with a lot of things back then. And Devon's death was one of them. He was my friend. He died a hero. That's enough for me.
I get it.
When things settle, maybe I'll visit his family in the Bracelet Isles off the coast of Lavenry. Pay my respects. You should come.
You bet. The whole thing that happened with Kirkin?
I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle that.
What do you mean?
She led our order for decades, Jack. And there's not a general in the Light's army that she doesn't have leverage on. And every one of the Lucian Magni houses owes her some kind of favor.
What? Even after she literally wanted to kill the thing that created their magic?
Time moves on. Things like that get forgotten quicker than you might expect. Lamenting what happened with Kirkin? Not as important as preparing for how she comes at us next.
Thought I'd check in is all.
Nothing to report here. Carry on.
Do I know you?
We were in selection together, although that feels like ages ago. I'm one of the candidates that that failed.
Gotcha. At least you made it here.
I was aboard the Palathon when the evacuation happened. I'm sorry for your losses. I can only imagine there were many.
Thanks. You're a Magnus of some rank, I take it.
I am. Magister Greaves of House Belming in North Lucium. I've no clever means with a sigil, but my magic is considerable and at your service. Especially as I hear you're the one that made sure all our magic came back.
Headed back north?
That's a good question. I may go elsewhere first. I'm working up the courage to take a trip to the Elori territories, beyond the Orenthals.
Really?
My conscience wants me to. My head thinks it's a terrible idea. But a sizable portion of Lucium's great families rely on House Belming to ensure their heirs are born with magic. That means I am directly responsible for some of the wound's growth. A small part, maybe, but not one I can ignore.
Now that you know the truth about the Elori?
Indeed. I hope that they might give me a deeper understanding of the Pentasard's intended cycle of magic, and try to work out the best way to accommodate it on a large scale. And with my influence in the north, I might get some of the great families to listen to that understanding.
That, Magister, that would be like so insanely helpful. Thank you. All right, Belming. I should go. Orphe, bet you saw me coming.
Candle. Fortunately for us, this is one of the timelines where you returned.
Whoa, you can see me in alternate timelines? Oh, hold up. I don't always make it?
Sometimes your friends fail to catch you. Sometimes you two have a falling out and you leave your safe house alone, and the Rashanians run you down.
You know about Luna?
Not really. We can only infer her presence in our visions of you. Otherwise, she is invisible to us. Well trained in the secret of mirrors, we suspect. You're lucky to have such a talented Magnus on your side. Which order is she? This ghost? Strange that you didn't introduce her to the Immortals. Strange.
What order? Ha! Yeah, come to think of it, I don't think she's ever even been in one.
Curious.
Orders aren't really her thing. So she says, probably thinks she's like too good for him or something. As if.
The version where you didn't lie to us was almost as awkward as this one.
Oh, good.
In any case, we are grateful for whichever rivers brought you back to us, Candle of Shaled.
Good chat, Orphe.
We'd like to give you something, a small relic of the Yokal.
Are you sure? What for?
Just consider it a kindness repaid, my little Candle.
did we recruit a new immortal?
No, Jack of the House Unforeseen. I've been part of the Order for some time now. We've just never had the pleasure of meeting one another at the Palathon.
No shit. Oh man, I'm sorry about that.
I'm the Viscount Hauserel, Lord of Sevenridge and Eye of Lavenry, the Order's hexbrand.
An assassin? Wow, I so totally had no idea you existed, your lordship.
Better late than never, as they say.
I've heard that assassins and the Order of the Oathsworn don't really get along in Caltus.
Hexbrands are a quintessentially Lucian institution. I can't blame the Calthusians, really. Every murder is an oath-breaking of some kind. The premise of our existence doesn't align well with their traditions.
Did that ever come up with Zendara?
No. But then she's considered a progressive here.
Oh, really?
Ah, you're referring to her inconsiderate and woeful attitudes towards the unforeseen.
Just a smidgen.
Then let me amend. Zendara's nothing if not a pragmatist. She has no problem with the utility of sanctions.
You've got a long road.
And new enemies to shield ourselves against back home. Luckily, I know the game well.
I know I should, but I just don't get that. After what we did for Avium...
Lucium is Lucium before it's Avium, Jack.
See, you say that, it just doesn't stick.
It's because you're good.
That's a nice way of saying I'm naive.
Don't do that. It might not feel like it yet, but you've started a revolution. It's small now because the implications of a human Allori alliance aren't fully understood. Those implications need good people to see them through. It's my job to do the wicked work needed to make sure that no one stands in their way.
Talk to you later, Hauser. swear I've seen your face somewhere.
Yes, sir. We met at Yilthium. Hallen Mead's oldest. Well, met isn't quite right. Grand Magnus Kirkin saw me scared out of my wits, and...
Right. She went over and gave you one of her inspiring speeches. How'd you make it all the way down here to Glavegate?
Silence. I was transferred to the Palathon after Yilthium, and one of the lucky ones to catch an airship out during the attack. Terrible day that was.
They don't bite, you know. The Allori?
They most certainly do, sir. And if they can smell my bloodline as well as they can your magic, I'm not long for this world.
What are you talking about?
It's not something I'm proud of, sir, especially in light of recent revelations. My family can trace its lineage all the way back to the Arjamon tribes of the Enduolo. They were famous Allori standard bearers.
I promise you, Silas, that your ancestors were not Allori.
That's not what I meant, sir. In those days, the Magni would have some of their most honored lightless carry standards and banners made of Allori. Well, I think you can guess, sir. They thought it would absorb the magic of their enemies in battle.
That's one of the worst things I have ever heard. Ever.
It was thousands of years ago, sir, but blood travels fine. It's not just the Magni that have to make amends. We lightless have our great share of it, too.
So, what's next for you?
I've asked the new Grand Magnus for a transfer to the front, sir. My family's still stationed there, and no one knows if Rasharn will truly pull back now. But the airship ride will do me good. Give me time to reflect on things. The battle over the wound, the sight of the living Pentasod.
What about him?
For one, I didn't expect him to be so shredded.
Right?
And it really made me ask myself, if here I am, a lightless idiot, fighting at the end of the world when Kirkin of the Immortals wouldn't, when the Magnus King of Lavenry sent no help or hope, where the Allori, who we've oppressed for so long, still sent both, then why do I think myself lesser compared to the dynastic lords and ladies of magic that failed to show? It's because they made me think that, sir.
Don't forget that when you get to the front, Silas Mead. So, what's next for you?
I've asked the new Grand Magnus for a transfer to the front, sir. My family's still stationed there, and no one knows if Rasharn will truly pull back now. But the airship ride will do me good. Give me time to reflect on things. The battle over the wound, the sight of the living Pentasod.
What about him?
For one, I didn't expect him to be so shredded.
Right?
And it really made me ask myself, if here I am, a lightless idiot, fighting at the end of the world when Kirkin of the Immortals wouldn't, when the Magnus King of Lavenry sent no help or hope, where the Allori, who we've oppressed for so long, still sent both, then why do I think myself lesser compared to the dynastic lords and ladies of magic that failed to show? It's because they made me think that, sir.
Don't forget that when you get to the front, Silas Mead. I'd better go. Ambassador Damley? How did you get here? Did Lavenry send you?
Not so far as Glavegate, no. I was stationed at the Palathon as royal advisor to the Grand Magnus these last few months. I escaped here with many of the others after it fell. I'm surprised we didn't run into one another before this.
I never knew Kirkin had an advisor from the Northern Court.
I don't blame you. She kept me and my council at arm's length.
Zendara taking command of the Immortals. Will it have your support at the Northern Court?
She was instrumental in getting so many of us from the Palathon here to Glavegate. She protected us from Rasharn against all hope. What do you think, Jack?
I think Lavenry might see a chance to influence the Immortals in ways they couldn't when Kirkin was around.
I won't let them find some loophole in Lucium's treaties with Calthus. As weakened as this kingdom is, I owe it and its leader my life.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm just...
wary of those in power not seeing things clearly. I wonder why. But don't worry. The king is a good man, when I remind him to be.
The Allori have land in Calthus now. They have rights. For them to get the same in Lucium, that's going to be a hard sell to the king.
It's a hard sell to me, and I was here. You mustn't be...
You know we can't heal the wound without them.
I believe you. I just want you to realize that happy endings, they end one day.
I have to go, Ambassador.